welcome back to Presley's Pod. Happy Monday. Here's the thing. I am very aware that today is Monday and that usually these episodes come out on Sunday. But if you can't hear what's going on, um, I tried to record yesterday and it truly sounded like all I did over the weekend was just smoke cigarettes all weekend. So I decided, you know what? Let's rest. Let's take the day to rest and we will circle back on Monday and I will upload this tonight. So I have been going outside more, right? I've been living my life on the weekends, hitting the town. And what happens usually when you're at a bar, when you're at dinner, usually the lights are low, usually the music's blasting, usually you're with friends, and you start screaming at each other without realizing it. And then all of a sudden you wake up the next morning and you're like, and I don't know if it's just a New York City thing. A bar, I get, right? There's a DJ, whatever. But dinner, like Saturday night, we had dinner and I was screaming literally the entire time and it was dark and you couldn't see and it was just fun dinner, but the voice was gone. So I said, you know what, we're gonna take a second. We're gonna take a second, and this will be out on Monday. So okay, we have so much to talk about. This past week, I have been on edge the entire week. Like the minute that someone says something to me, I'm like, hold, like hold me back, hold Presley, hold back. Like anything that goes wrong, like is about to send me over the edge. And so I said, you know what? I need to take a breath and I need to figure out what's actually going on and what I'm actually stressed about and why I'm going to take somebody out with my anger. And I took a second and over a couple of days, I was like, what's going on? Like, truly, what's going on? I always think about this sounds insane, but go with me, peeling back the layers of an onion. And it's like, okay, this is kind of bothering me, but that's not the core of the problem. What's this going on? What's this? And you keep going back until you get to the core, right? So I have a personal project that's coming out soon, and I noticed that it was really stressing me out. Like it was done, it's all done, and it's truly just waiting for me to hit upload to for everyone to see it. And it was stressing me out, and I was getting very like nervous, and I was watching it so many times, and I was like, is this even good? Do I even want to post this? And I realized that I was worrying more about what other people were going to think about it. And I was comparing it to past work projects. And I said, Presley, like, it truly doesn't matter. This is something you're just doing for fun. So, like, you have to snap out of it and you have to stop thinking and caring about what other people might say about it. Because if they say something mean, that's on them. And you have to just let it go. So, I feel like as society now, whenever we start to get stressed or anxious, we just immediately go to the phone. Like, let's immediately scroll on Instagram, let's immediately go to TikTok, whatever, scroll, and then you can zone out or like watch TV, whatever. I personally think that everyone should have some sort of outlet, whether it's a hobby, going to the movies, going to a spa, something that you do for when you're feeling so overwhelmed and anxious that's not your phone. You have to put the phone down because obviously the science explains that it's just going to make it worse. Okay. So this morning I went to a spa and for the first 30 minutes, I was the only person there. And it was so nice to just sit there without my phone and just sit there and think my thoughts. Like when is the last time that you've truly just been alone and you sit there and think? That's why I have to sign myself up for activities to do that because if I do it here, I just sit and I'm trapped in my room and I'm thinking and it's like spiraling. But if you're in a different, go to the park. It doesn't have to be anything that you pay for. Go to the park, lay on a blanket, and just like sit there and think. And because when's the last time you were bored? Whenever we're bored, we just go on our phones, right? So, getting the more that you can spend that quality time with yourself, the better you'll have more control over your brain and like more awareness of what's going on and what's bothering you. Anyway, so I talked myself off the ledge and now we're here. But let's go back in time, okay? Let's go all the way back to last week. So, last week, I went to a friend's birthday party. Yep, out on the town, went to a friend's birthday party. I was having so much fun. I did not want to leave. And that is crazy behavior on my end. It was the clock was ticking towards midnight and I was like, "Dang, I should probably go," but I really wanted to stay. And that made me realize, like, wow, I got home and I was just like, wow, I'm so grateful for my friends. Like, I'm so grateful that I'm surrounded by awesome people, people that I love, people that I'm fully myself around. And I was like, wow, I'm just so grateful. And then I had a moment where I was thinking, like, no, Presley, you put in the work for these friendships. I do not waste my time with anyone that doesn't make me feel like my best self, anyone that's like mean, gossipy, whatever, negative Nellies, like see ya. Like literally see ya. It's okay. You can be negative, be yourself, whatever, but I close the door on you because I just cannot with that. So I realized like I've put in the work on these friendships to make them this amazing. And I don't have the time, patience, or energy to tolerate anyone that's not going to bring me that same amount of joy. Like I actively choose not to hang out with those people because there's only so much time in a day, and as we get older everyone's schedules are getting even more insane, so there's only so many nights a week that I can hang out with my friends. So why would I hang out with someone that's I'm kind of like on the fence about, or like they're part of the group but I'm like I don't really want to go if they're going to be there. Like none of that exists in my life at all. Like I do not have anyone in my friend group that I'm like they're coming, okay, whatever. No, because you don't have to. If you don't want to hang out with someone, you don't have to hang out with someone, right? So I left that party and I was like, "Ugh, I'm just feeling amazing, whatever." Well, it was funny because Addie and I were sitting there talking and we were deep in conversation. And we were deep in conversation because I had just come from dinner with a 26-year-old. So we will circle back to that. We were deep in conversation. All of a sudden, someone grabs my arm. I'm thinking it's a friend, right? Because we were running rampant all over this bar. Thinking it's a friend. I turn, it's a man. It's a grown man. And he says, "It was so great to see you," and walks away. And I was like, hmm. I'm really great with faces, and I'm really not maybe with names, but faces. I would be like, I would definitely know if I had met you at some point. So, first of all, careful with the arm touching. Like, I really do not want to be even just like any man. Like, do not touch. Like, do not grab my arm. Do not even if you're like trying to be friendly. Like, no, I didn't say that you could touch me. Anyway. Oh god. Okay, so anyway, I was like, I have no idea who that was. I think he was like just trying to say like it was great to see you. So I'm like, whatever. Anyway, then Addie and I pivot and we lock back in. So I had just come from dinner with the 26-year-old. He texted me and he said, "Oh, how about I make you dinner?" Keywords, I make you dinner. Great. And then I go to my friend's birthday party and I said, great. The day comes around. I start hearing a we. I start hearing a we're gonna make dinner. And I said, oh, bump the brakes, babe. Let's circle back to when you pitched this idea and you said, I will make you. For anyone that doesn't know me, like I live next to a Whole Foods. I didn't grow up in the kitchen. Like I was busy as a child. I had a lot of activities, so I was not around the kitchen when people were cooking. Like I also truly don't really care to learn because like when I get home I'm starving and I want it ready right now and I don't want to have to like deal with any of that. Anyway, so I was like, okay, sure. So he decides that we're going to make sushi. He gets the fish, he gets all the things. We go to the store, we get cucumber, avocado, we come back. He goes, "Will you cut that cucumber up for me?" And I was like, this could end it all right now. I was like, when was the last time that I cut up a cucumber? I'm pretty sure I was shaking, I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, so I survived. I didn't embarrass myself fully, and he knows that I don't cook, so whatever. Anyway, circling back to that night, then I go to the birthday party. The only other thing that I have to say about the 26-year-old is next week or this week, since it's Monday, we're going to a Rangers game. Crazy. Me going to a sports game. Crazy. Also, really crazy. Like, what happened to like all of the dinners that I've just been going to? Anyway, I was walking in my neighborhood. I walked past a paint and pour place, okay? Paint and pour. You're painting, you're drinking. And an intrusive thought out of nowhere pops into my mind and says, "Oh, that would be so fun with a 26-year-old." As the girl that's like the queen of dinner dates and like nice lounge dates, and I went on my first activity date maybe a couple months ago. Like, I do not do this, so that was crazy, but that's the update on him, so we'll see how it goes after the game. Anyway, so that was last weekend. Then I had a full like crash out the whole week, just really on edge. Friday night comes around, the girls, Addie, Lauren, and I, we have plans. We're going out. We're hitting the town. We hadn't seen each other in a while. I was like, let's go. Dinner was at 8:15. Probably around 7:30, we all start text. Well, not Addie, because Addie, she's the life of the party. She can go. Lauren and I start having like a full mental breakdown. And the way that we're hyping each other up in this group text to go to a dinner at 8:15, you would think that we're about to run the New York City Marathon. I was like, you guys, we can do this. We've done way harder things. It's just the girls. And we are like, it'll be fine. It's just getting there. Like, once we get there, we'll be fine. But getting there, like, we are like crazy, crazy, crazy for us to be going at 8:15. Anyway, so we go to dinner. Anytime I go downtown in New York City, like past where the numbers stop, I am lost. I am I have my Apple Maps pulled out. I do. And I try to memorize, okay, I'm going to go on this street. I'm going to look for this CVS. Then I'm going to make the turn because I don't want to be looking at my phone. And I have the Apple Maps usually in my hand if I need to. So usually I am trying to follow them. Addie was already at dinner and she was tracking me on Find My Friends. She said that I started walking literally in every possible wrong direction from dinner that you could walk. I was doing circles out in like no man's land, and I was fully like, you guys, if this explains last week, I was fully about to just like start crying and call an Uber home. And it's funny because I went to the spa this morning and Addie messaged me and she was like, "Good for that anxiety, girl." And I was like, "Yes, girl, because you know I've been going through it." Like, that is very unlike me. So that's why I knew something was wrong this past week and I needed to like do a reset and a recheck in with myself because I've been busy. So you got to like come back to yourself and check in. Anyway, we get to dinner. We're having fun. We're at dinner, whatever. We start walking to the bar that we were going to. Oh, brother. Okay. We start walking to the bar. As we're approaching the bar, I can see that there's a line. And that is something that I do not do. Usually there's not a line, but I guess it was a Friday night. I am not not standing in a line. I usually don't frequent places that require you to stand in a line. Usually I have a reservation. Even for a bar, I make a reservation so we can sit down. Like, that's the way to go. I see the line and I'm like, oh, but it was okay because we're feeling better. I was with Lauren and Addie and I was like, you know what, it's gonna be fine. Like, we'll get in eventually. We were pretty casual for a Friday night out. I was wearing like a t-shirt and jeans and a leather jacket. Crazy. T-shirt and jeans. We start walking up to the line. It's the three of us. We're in the back of the line. All of a sudden, a man comes over and he says, "Oh, you guys can come with me." So the three of us, we click clack to the front of the line. We get our stamps. Addie and this guy chatting it up. He's wearing like a blue jacket. She was wearing a fun color. Like they're bonding, whatever. As we start walking to the front of the line, I hear one of I hear a girl that was standing like obviously closer to the front of the line say something along the lines of like what or how, but with a word that I don't know if YouTube lets you say. And I was like, and I was like, just keep walking. Okay, so we get to the front, we get stamped, we go in, whatever. We're in there, we made it, we're hanging out. Things start happening, we're meeting people, whatever, whatever. We are standing in one like corner of the bar in the back. It's starting to hit like 11-ish. So Lauren's like, I'm going to call it. I have to work tomorrow. See ya. Addie and we still had some business to attend to. We were trying to lock some things down, if you know what I mean. So we stayed because it was 11. So I was like, okay, whatever. We stay. Then it hits 12, and I'm like, yeah, clock strikes midnight, Cinderella. Like, I truly am a big believer for a multitude. Is that a word? Multitude of reasons that, like, go home at midnight. Go home at midnight. Anything that like we've heard about safety and sketchy situations happening, it's always past midnight, especially for a female. Like, go home at midnight. It's not worth it. Like, you're probably not going to meet anybody at 1 a.m. And it's like, it's only bad things are going to happen after that. So I always go home. For me, it's more about just making sure that I can at least get like 6 hours of sleep, because you better believe the next morning I woke up, rise and shine, 7 a.m. And I was like, anyway. So we're tying it all together, okay? Remember how I said that I went out with for my friend's birthday, and that guy said it was so great to see you, and I was like, I would probably remember you. So I have never, ever, ever ran into anyone on the streets of New York City that I used to date. Casually, whatever. Like, never, ever. There are certain neighborhoods and certain places that I like keeping a swivel around, just making sure, keeping an eye out. And it's not because anything ended badly. It's more of like, I just know that I would probably, again, my brain would go blank and I would have no idea what to say and I would be extremely awkward. So I just got to prepare myself. So when that guy said that to me, I was like, huh, that's weird that I've never, I mean, New York is big, but it's also very small. So that day, the day that I was meeting the girls, I was thinking about that. And I was like, that is just so weird, especially because, like, you know, it's big, but it's small, like I just said. Anyway, so here's the thing about being in like a little trio of a friend group: you date one of us, you date all of us. I know everything, not everything, a lot of things about all of these men. Like, if I see a man, I'm like, yes, I know that you dated my friend. I know that you, blah, blah, blah. See him on a dating app. I'm like, that guy looks really familiar. Oh, yep, confirmed. Him and Lauren dated. Like, I can recognize the face. So Addie and I we're making our way from the back corner of the bar to the exit. We start walking, and literally, I swear to you guys, things started moving in slow motion. Because we're walking and I see this guy, and Addie's in front of me, and I start to say, Addie. And she slowly turns back around to me with fear. I will never forget the look on her face with fear in her eyes. And she was like, Presley? And I like literally in slow motion because I had seen this guy. I had seen this guy. We spent, not I never met him, but we all spent a couple months with this man. And I knew exactly what he looked like. I know what he did for work. I know where he lives. Like I knew everything. So when I saw him, obviously I was like, "Oh my god!" So she turns around and she's like, "We're staring at each other." Meanwhile, there's no way that he didn't see her. Like she has the cutest blonde bob you've ever seen, as we know. The number of people that came up to us and started talking to us just because of her hair, crazy. I honestly, maybe that's why we got in because of her bob. So shout out if you need, get a friend with a cute bob and you will go places. Anyway, we were standing pretty close to each other. There's no way that he didn't see her. So I'm I'm standing there and I'm like, okay, what do you want to do? Do you want to say hi or do you want to switch places and I'll get us out of here like ASAP? I see an opening. And she was like, no, 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 I want to go. So as we're walking out, I see that one of his friends looks at her and I was like, oh brother. But we keep trucking. We are trucking it out the door because we're like, go, 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 go. I gotta go home. Two, we gotta get away. So we start moving towards the door. As we are moving towards the door, I hear, whoa, 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 where are you guys going? I turn around. It's someone from a friend group that was there earlier, probably around the same time that we were, that they were making lots of eye contact, but classic, no one ever made a move, whatever. I said, in my head, I was like, sir, you had 2 hours to talk to us. Like, we're going. It's midnight, we're going. So he's like, whoa, where are you guys going? And I was like, to bed. We're going home to bed. I'm tired. It's midnight. I'm pretty sure that's exactly how I said it. And he was like, what? How old are you? Yeah. How old are you? Crazy question. I said, I'm 26. And he was like, well, I'm 25. And I was like, yeah, that means that I really got to get out of here, sir. Thank you so much. You just proved my point. Bye. So we go to the bathroom. We come back out from the bathroom. The Uber is called. We are going downstairs. We are walking down the stairs. And he goes, huh, he's outside. He's outside. This man is outside. So I'm like, why are you outside, sir? Did you see us leaving? Want to maybe see my Addie girl in her little shorts and her hot pink boots again to maybe try to shoot your shot again? I don't know. So we go outside. He's talking to the bouncer. Um, there was this is a hotel bar. There was also a man outside in his hotel robe. So I said, you know what? Yeah, it's midnight. It's time to go. So Addie and I, he doesn't say anything to us. We book it towards the Uber. We're sitting in the Uber. We do the thing. We drive by. He's gone. Great. Okay, we dodged a bullet. Nothing was said. He never messaged her on Instagram. He never did anything, but there is no way that he didn't see her. And I just want to put this out there, just like a little PSA for some men. If you are jacked, like if you're jacked, if you work out and you're like really jacked, you got to get bigger pants because your jeans look like skinny jeans. And that truly, that image is just like seared in my head of this man the first time seeing him in these, like, they weren't skinny jeans, but because he's jacked, they look skinny jeans. So you gotta like, we can get some more fashionable pants. Okay. Anyway, so that was last weekend, this past weekend, a couple days ago. This weekend, I think we just need to keep it a little bit more low key, but I am trying to be outside more, so we shall see. Anyway, love you guys. I will see you next Sunday because I'm going to rest my voice and we're going to be sounding so much better. So thank you for listening and I'll see you next time. Bye.